You know that feeling, right? Staring at a stock that's just bleeding red day after day. You get that pit in your stomach. You know it's a loser, but hitting that sell button, man, it just feels like admitting you were wrong. Well, today, we're going to talk about how to escape that feeling. We're going to show you how to spot what's called a value trap and figure out when it's really finally time to just cut your losses and walk away.
Yeah, this probably hits a little too close to home for some of us. It's that voice of desperation, That feeling that you've already put so much in, you can't possibly quit now. But here's the thing, this isn't just about the money. It's a full-on emotional battle against our own gut instincts. And it's the exact reason so many investors get trapped.
And there's actually a name for this mental trap. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. It is an incredibly powerful psychological bias. Think about it like this. You pay for a movie ticket, the movie is absolutely awful, but you stay till the end anyway. Why? Because you already paid, but that money is gone whether you stay for another hour or not. The only thing you're doing is wasting your time because you already wasted your money. In investing, this very same thinking is what fuels the value trap. Okay, so this brings us to what we're calling the siren song's trap. And it's a perfect name because just like those mythical sirens from the stories, a stock that looks cheap can sing this beautiful, irresistible song, a song that leads your portfolio straight onto the rocks. So what exactly is a value trap? Well, it's a stock that on the surface looks like an unbelievable bargain. You see a low price-to-earnings ratio, a low PE, and you think, wow, this is a total steal. But then the price just keeps falling. And it keeps falling because that cheap price isn't a deal. It's a massive warning sign about some really deep fundamental problems with the business itself. And this really gets to the core challenge for every single investor. How in the world do you know if a falling price is just a temporary dip in a great company, which, by the way, would be a huge buying opportunity, or if it's a sign that the business is actually rotting from the inside out? Getting that right is the difference between a fantastic investment and a catastrophic loss. So how do so many smart people get fooled by this? Well, it often comes down to something we're going to call the multiple mirage. This is where the most common numbers we use to value a company create this illusion of a good deal that just isn't real. Here's a perfect way to think about it. A low PE ratio is just like seeing a really low price per pound for a steak at the butcher. Let's say every other butcher is selling ribeye for $10 a pound, but this one shop has it for $3. Your first thought is bargain, but your second thought, your very next thought, should probably be, wait a minute, what's wrong with this meat? And in the stock market, you might see a number just like this, a company with a PE ratio of 4. Now, in most markets, a PE that low looks unbelievably cheap. I mean, it's a number that's practically jumping up and down, screaming, buy me, buy me. But that is the exact question you have to stop and ask yourself. Is this really the deal of a lifetime, or is it a giant flashing red light that the market is desperately trying to show you? And here's the punchline to that whole analogy. A lot of the time, that crazy low number isn't a gift, it's a message. The market is pricing in future trouble. It's expecting earnings to fall, or its products to become obsolete, or for its debt to crush it. You're just seeing the cheap price tag. But what the market is actually seeing is expired meat. Okay, so if you can't always trust the headline price tag, how do you find out what's really going on? Well, you have to switch your mindset. You've got to go from being a passive buyer to being an active investigator. It's time to perform a little forensic analysis. This whole process really boils down to 3 key steps. First, you've got to dig past the flashy headlines and especially past the company's adjusted earnings. That's a number they create that often hides a lot of real costs. Second, you have to hunt for red flags in the fine print of the official accounting statements. The truth usually lives in the boring stuff. And finally, you follow the actual money. You look at the company's debt and its real cash flow, because those 2 things are incredibly hard to fake. So what kind of red flags are we even hunting for? Well, start asking questions like these. Is the company always changing how it measures its own success? That could mean they keep moving the goalposts because they can't hit the old ones. Is the CEO getting a massive bonus for doing something that actually hurts the company in the long run? And oh, this is a huge one. Is the company borrowing a ton of money just to pay its dividend? I mean, that's basically like paying your Visa bill with your MasterCard. It's a huge sign the business itself isn't generating enough cash.
But look, even if you have the best toolkit in the world, none of this is going to work without the right mindset. And this is the final and maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. It's about shifting from making emotional decisions to using disciplined analysis.
A huge principle here is what's known as the circle of competence. Warren Buffett talks about this all the time. It's a really simple but powerful idea. If you can't explain in plain English why a company is struggling and why you're totally confident it's going to recover, then you have no business owning it. And you definitely shouldn't be buying more just because the price is falling. When you get right down to it, there are really two different mindsets. On one side, you've got Chad the trader. He's emotional, he's totally anchored to the price he paid for the stock, and he absolutely hates admitting he was wrong. On the other side, you've got the successful investor. They're rational, they only care about what the business is worth today, and they have the discipline to admit when the story has changed and it's time to move on.
And let's be crystal clear about something. Everybody makes mistakes. Even the greatest investors who have ever lived have bought businesses that turned out to be value traps. The skill isn't about being perfect. No one is. The real skill is having the discipline to recognize you've made a mistake and get out before it does catastrophic damage to your portfolio.
And this all boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful mental shift. The money you've already lost, it's gone. It is a sunk cost. The only question that matters right now is this. If you have that money in cash today, would you choose to buy this exact stock at this exact price? If the honest answer is no, then it's time to sell. So I'm going to leave you with this. Go take a look at your own portfolio and be brutally honest with yourself. Which of your stocks are still an investment and which ones have just become a sunk cost? Answering that question might just be the most important financial decision you make all year.